Good evening, everybody. This is Morbid. I'm with Jaded and Pagan.
Hi.
What's up?
Had a little bit of a late start there. I just found out my April update actually totally ruined my sound settings, so I had a real hard time getting my microphone and everything working. But whatever. We were only 3 minutes late. It's not too bad. I almost called it off. That's how pissed off I was getting. Oh shit! And I must have
I would have
closed
just
my.
went back to playing video games.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, anyway, thanks for anybody who's actually listening and stopped by. I didn't advertise this too much again as we still try to figure some things out. I haven't talked to you guys much since the last week when we did that, and that didn't go too bad.
I haven't talked to you since last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've talked to you a few times.
But I think we figured some stuff out. So,
Yeah.
But anyway, for anybody who has never joined in before and is wondering what we're all about, this is the official podcast for dreamandemon.com. And normally, you know what? This is unbelievable.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, in the process of me trying to fix my problem, I was on a page that was saying, what you're hearing right now, I was on a page that was, what the hell is that noise?
It sounds like a bird.
Oh, it's a frog.
Jesus Christ, please tell me we're not going to hear that the entire time.
No, I'm getting ready to remove locations. I put my cig out.
Anyway,
That's awesome.
I was in a hurry,
That's a loud-ass frog.
and that's when I found out about the April update fucking up sound settings. And one of them said, update your sound drivers, and because I was in a hurry and wasn't reading, it said download now, and I downloaded it, and it was actually one of them scammy things that what you were actually downloading was a program that would download drivers for you. And it was too late for me to go back and fix it because we was going on in 5 minutes. So now I have this piece of shit application that's going to pop up on me the entire time we're going. So I tried to close it. We'll see what happens. It's just going to be one of them nights, I guess. But anyway, this is the official podcast for dreamandemon.com, where normally we talk about the top 10 stories on the site for the last week. And we do have a full new boat from last week. We got some pretty good stories, and we've also got some that we did not report on because I normally don't post about school shootings for my own reasons. But I'm sure, we can talk about it if you want to. There's a lot of info about that, of course, and a lot of misinformation and stuff. Not that I'm an expert on it or anything like that, but I don't know if you have... you can't avoid it, and especially people's opinions on it from the political standpoint. That always comes to play whenever you have these types of shootings, and then you have the anti-gun and the pro-Second Amendment guys clashing in every single comment on any story that comes out afterwards. So I'm sure we'll get into that as well. But before we get started, just give some people some time to get in if they're coming along. Did y'all do anything good this week at all?
It worked.
Yeah. I don't know if we lost Pagan or not, but oh yeah, he muted his mic.
No, you did not lose me. I was moving to a new location where there's peace and quiet.
Yeah, we need to work on getting you a new mic so you're not talking on your phone.
True that.
Somebody else needs a new mic, apparently.
Who?
You?
Nah, it's just Windows being Windows. But anyway, yeah, I did go see Deadpool 2 over the weekend, which was pretty good. So if you like those movies, definitely give that one a
I love
shot.
Deadpool.
You'll like the sequel, was really good. I tell you what,
Awesome.
I bought because I've seen every single Star Wars movie in the theater, every one of them. So I went ahead and pre-ordered for this Han Solo movie, even though I have very, very low expectations because I really hated that last Star Wars. In fact, I think it's my least favorite of the entire series, including those crappy prequels. But I'm thinking about canceling my ticket for the first time ever and not seeing this Han Solo movie. I just got a real bad taste in my mouth. Not even just because I think it's going to be a bad movie, but just all the social politics that have surrounded that movie. And I mean, I think I'm just going to have to vote with my dollar, man, and just wait to watch that one. Have you been
I'm
following
not,
that at all? I don't know if you give a shit about any of that, so I don't know if you
not really.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
was
I
just going
think
to ask you, what are the social politics around Star Wars?
Well, well, it depends on who you ask, but I mean, and even from some of the writers of these movies and the creators behind them and the studios, they outwardly admit that they put social politics into these latest Star Wars films. You know, forced diversity and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, gotcha, that shit.
Right,
Okay.
and I guess the writer of this new Han Solo film has been making some snide comments at the detractors of this movie and some of the things that they're doing. Nobody asked for a Han Solo origin story anyway, but hey, what are you going to do? You know. But a lot of the blames keep seeming to fall on the head of the Disney Star Wars division. I think her Kathleen Kennedy. I can't remember her name, but a lot of people fault her for the downfall and the ruin of people's childhoods as they change and modify these characters we've known since the 70s. So, but anyway,
Well, some of the Star
now,
Wars fans take that shit really serious.
well, yeah, and I don't think it's just that. I don't think it's necessarily, and some do. You're right. Some do take it very seriously, but I think some of them just don't like seeing this new social movement penetrating into almost every area of entertainment at this point in time, including, you know, video games and comic books and movies, and you know, people are taking a stand on it. So I don't know if you went and looked. I mean, I always find it very interesting, but on Rotten Tomatoes currently, it's about to hit rotten status, so that's going to be a first since the prequels. And the audience that wanted to go see the movie has dropped down to like 43%, which is horrendous for a Star Wars flick.
oh gosh.
So a lot of people are actually rooting for its failure, and just in the hopes that it'll get Kathleen either to change what she's doing with the films or get her off of doing the films. Because they've got like three main heads: the Star Wars division, which is her, and then they got a dude that does the Marvel, and then they got the dude that does the live action. So, but anyway, we'll see. I don't even know if you even keep up with that kind of crap. I follow it pretty closely just because I'm a movie fanatic, but I'm not necessarily a Star Wars fanatic. I don't really, you know, it's not affecting me in any way. It's just a shame to see what they've done with the Star Wars franchise in general. In these last few films, they, you know, they're tanking. They're not making the money that they should be making and what they thought they were going to make, and not even just from the movie side of the things, but the toy, which is a very, very, very big part of Star Wars, is the merchandising, and the toys are just sitting on the shelves. Nobody's buying them, and
Yeah,
what I was going to
I
say
mean,
is, I know you have a kid around that age that would watch these films, and the biggest difference, and I'm not talking about the first Star Wars, and I swear we're not talking about, I don't even know why I even brought this up, but the first these new Star Wars had some pretty good characters, and it was just basically a rehash of the original Star Wars. It's a tried and true type of story. You know, a nobody rises up and is able to conquer evil, whatever. But this last Jedi movie and some of the other ones they've had, the Rogue One, there's just no characters that people want to buy in the toy stores. Like when we were kids, you had very bona fide kick-ass good guys and very bona fide kick-ass bad guys. And now with these new Star Wars, who the fuck you gonna buy? Tico Rose? You know what I mean? There's nobody. There's
there's no
nobody that.
standout.
No, I mean, if your kid was going to go buy a cool character in the Star Wars aisle, he'll end up buying something from the older movies because there's nobody worth the shit in the new ones.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, we have got a lot of stories, so we'll go ahead and get into that and get off of Star Wars at the moment. So we'll kind of dick around with some of these other ones because we got some big ones we'll talk about, and then we'll move into that school shooting stuff for last. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on that. Because this guy was a little bit different, kind of the same, but a little bit different than some of the other ones. He said a lot during his little escapade he had. We'll go from top 10. We'll go from the bottom to the top, and I'm kind of going to breeze through a couple of them. But if you have anything you want to talk about on them, just interrupt me. Number 10 was the drunk mom who got kicked out of a school play and assaulted a police officer, and then flooded her jail cell.
In other words, Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that woman is a member of the forums.
You think?
You know it. Come on.
Well, let me see if I can play a quick video on this one, so people can see what I'm talking about. And I think there's going to be a commercial before it that I can't really do much about, so we'll see. Let's see if I can get this up. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, we're going to have an ad.
School play at a junior high school, the last place you would find somebody drunk. But for a mother in Friendswood, that's where her problems began. Police were called to Friendswood Junior High last week. They say 35-year-old Christiane Churchwell was being loud and appeared drunk.
You know what? And including this girl's picture here, and I know you guys may not be able to see it. I don't know if you're watching the actual YouTube channel or not, but we have her mugshot up, and I wish I'd have saved it, but I didn't. But this is another one of those remarkable false advertising things with chicks, no offense, Jaded, where you see their Facebook pictures and whatnot, and then you see their mugshot, and you're just like, oh, holy crap.
Are you fucking kidding me? My Facebook picture looks just like me, tongue out and all. Give me a break.
Well, that's true. That is true. But like I said, no offense, I wasn't calling you out, but these mugshots are always hilarious to me. It always reminds me of the fast food commercials of like the Big Mac or whatever, what it's supposed to look like, and then what you get. Anyway.
Gotcha.
It's a glamour shot.
Outside, he claims she tried to attack him. It got worse. She was taken to jail. Officers found 8 small bottles of vodka in her purse, all but one empty. Then, while in her jail cell...
Jaded, how much liquor is in one of them small bottles?
Why are you asking me like I know?
Yeah, I thought you would know. I was just curious. I guess you're talking mini bar levels, right? Mini bar, the little like ones you can get at the shelf at the liquor store.
I'm thinking airline.
Airline? Yeah, it could be. I don't know how much.
Yeah, trial size.
So she had 7 out of 8, allegedly.
She allegedly triggered the sprinkler system, flooding the jail. Churchwell now charged with assault and criminal mischief.
So that was her, and that was basically her story. So she just basically turned something very stupid into something a lot more stupid. But that's alcohol for you, right?
What did she get pissed off about?
They never really said that. They said that she was acting obnoxious at her kid's play, and I guess somebody had just told a officer who was there, hey, this bitch over here is acting idiotic, and when they went to talk to her, that's when everything just completely escalated.
Gotcha.
So I think she was just drunk, which I'm sure her kid loved.
So I wonder what brand of vodka.
Does it really matter at that point, though?
Well...
Hey.
Well, when you're drinking trial size, I don't know. Can you get brand name good shit in trial size?
I mean, I'm figuring she's at least getting Smirnoff, right?
I would assume so.
Yeah, but if you're down to the point that you're drinking mini bottles out of your purse at your kids' play, I don't think a brand's probably much of a concern. What was that shit we used to drink when you didn't have anything else? Gordon's vodka.
Pop.
Was that it?
Both.
I just remember one burned, man.
They both were budget.
Oh, they burned on the way down.
Yeah.
Number 9 was the, wasn't much to this one, except for they're saying it's an accident. This is the woman that stabbed her male roommate because he called her a bitch. And the story is very simple. They were watching TV in their apartment, and I guess the guy was over talking the whatever she was watching, so she told him to shut up, and he told her to shut up, bitch, and then she went and grabbed a knife and said, call me a bitch again, and he called her a bitch again, and she stabbed him in the chest.
Wow.
Some dudes are so fucking stupid. I mean,
That would be Ernest.
She's holding a knife and says, call me bitch again, and he does it.
Well,
damn.
And in his defense, they did say that this had happened like 10 times before, where she'd pulled a knife out on him, and that in every case, he was able to get the knife away from her. And I guess this was one of those times he was not able to do so.
So he's stupid and slow.
Yeah. And then I think it was one of her family members said it was an accident. No, it was a friend, and said it was an accident. And she was quoted as saying, "She only hit him once, and sadly, it just happened to be his heart. She never intended that."
Mm.
There's a lesson to be learned in this, though. Number one, don't ever call a woman a bitch when she's holding a knife.
Don't argue with
And
them
number
at
two,
all.
shut up. No, sometimes an argument is, when they're holding the knife or just in general.
When they're holding a knife.
Okay, good point. Good point. Or just in general. And don't fucking talk when shit's on
and she
TV.
she broke his fucking heart. Can you believe that?
I can't.
Poor Ernest.
Ernest, was that his name?
Yeah, well, yeah, I
Oh,
guess.
Man,
But,
you read more than I did. I wrote
Ernst.
it.
Oh, that's his last name.
Ernst. Okay. All right.
She was holding it to Ernest's chest, and she said, "Call me a bitch again." I mean, right up to his chest.
See, I just wouldn't have said nothing. I really wouldn't have said nothing back.
That's right.
I mean, he may
That's
have
how
said
you stay
biatch.
alive.
He may have said biatch.
I'm sure he did.
Does that take the sting out of it?
Honey, stop. Look around.
Did you like that?
Oh, was that some shagging music?
Yeah,
call
it's called that. Auto ads are just killing me.
I want to put
Sure.
some flip-flops on and start shagging.
No, it's just auto ads. This next story, this is one that actually brought up a lot of conversation, and it wasn't necessarily because what the woman did, but was because she was described as black. I don't know if you've seen this story or this woman, but when we first reported on this, this woman's name is Tahira Ahmad, I guess. She had snapped and had tied her, and this is what we first reported on, what we knew at the time. She had tied up her 3 girls, 7, I think it was actually 8 and 11, and tied them up and started stabbing the shit out of the 11-year-old, where the 8-year-old was able to get loose and untie the 7-year-old, who then went and ran for help. And when police got there, the kitchen was on fire, and the mother and the youngest daughter were gone, where she had abducted the little girl. Well, they ended up finding them and arresting them. But a lot of questions thought that I had used the wrong picture, because the description that police gave that she was a black woman, and she very well may be a black woman, but her picture, I'm gonna put this on the screen. Are you guys watching the YouTube thing at all?
I'm looking at her picture on the
Well, because I got
site.
a
Yeah, I'm like Jaded. I'm looking at the pic.
Well, I got a nice mugshot of her here that's a lot clearer, and it still really doesn't clarify anything. That's her mugshot, and I guess supposedly the initial news articles weren't wrong at all. That from what family's saying, and she's not denying any of this, that she was fine on Friday, and then I guess on Saturday she locked the kids in a room with no food or water or something, and then on Sunday, on Mother's Day, her mom would not let her go to her 2 boys' graduation, which was info I didn't have at the time. So she has 2 other children that I guess that her mom takes care of, and the mom wouldn't let her go to the graduation of those 2 kids. And supposedly that, on top of it being Mother's Day and all this other stuff, this chick just snapped. And
She was just waiting for a reason to unhinge.
I guess, but she supposedly stabbed. I mean, she tied those girls up, she went holy hell on that 11-year-old. Supposedly stabbed her. Well, in her words, stabbed her like 50 to 70 times and hit her with a pickaxe on the head and some other things she said she did.
Jesus Christ.
And the little girl's still alive. I think she is not in a coma, but they got her sedated and she's in still in serious condition. So, but I think she's going to live, surprisingly. But there's still been no real reason on why she did that at all, except for she just snapped. But yeah, we got a lot of comments on her color, because from all mugshots and Facebook pictures of her, which there are many, she just did not look black. So a lot of people were calling that into question, especially when they were looking for her. You know, that was kind of not a very accurate description of her if you actually wanted people to be on the lookout. Yeah, I wanted to see.
Not only does she not look black, but oh, puffy hair. Okay. I don't know. Her hair could be puffy. I don't know.
I'm trying to, we'll see if I can get a better video to play that doesn't, well, I was hoping to. I just wanted to get one that didn't autoplay like that. The ad before the one I had, but that was when they hadn't called her yet either. But yeah, that was pretty much it for her at this point. I don't know if any more charges have been put on her. Anything? Have you heard anything about this at all after that?
I'm looking right now.
I want to play this video, but I don't want to play that damn ad.
Just talk through it.
I'm actually doing a quick search just to see if I can get a... yeah, here it is. This is the video I was trying to play earlier. Let's see if it comes up. Alright, here we go. Put it on here real quick. And hopefully we won't get a nice ad.
Also new at 10, the family of a woman whose confessed crimes have captured the nation's attention. The family now breaking their silence. On Monday, 39-year-old Tahira Ahmad allegedly stabbed her 11-year-old daughter, and her 9-year-old daughter ran to other family for help. 2 Works For You reporter Ashley Holt spoke with the girl's aunt about the chilling news she got when her niece ran to her driveway and why they say Ahmad snapped.
Tahira Ahmad's
Okay, there's her family, and they are most definitely black.
has been watching the unthinkable unfold with the rest of us.
Because I saw when she was smiling how the smile went. It wasn't really a smile. It was a message.
They're the only ones with some insight behind the smile.
My little niece came running up the driveway barefooted in hysterics, saying that, Auntie, Mommy killed Sadia.
They took her back home to find a nightmare.
Seeing that girl laid there like she had just been through a war-torn country was not something that we see at home.
Terrell saw Tahira's daughter Sadia first.
I came running in there and I looked at her and I shouted out her name. I told her, don't worry, we're going to get you out of here.
Barbara tried putting out a fire in the kitchen and called police.
She loved her kids. She went to work every...
And that was another thing. I think when we first initially reported it was the police that found the fire in the girl. But I guess that when the little girl ran to the house, they're the ones that actually went and put out the fire and found the girl and called police themselves.
Every day for her kids. Everything she did was for her kids.
They were confused. Why did this happen? Then they remembered when things started to change.
She was normal Friday. Saturday, she snapped. Sunday, she was evil.
They say she had recently lost her job, shot her dog and chickens. Then her mother, who came...
Did she just say shot her dogs and chickens?
Yes, and her chickens.
Ooh.
Holy shit.
Damn.
Years for her 2 boys kept her from seeing one of them graduate on Saturday. That was the tipping point before Mother's Day killed her spirit on Sunday.
She got herself into a nervous breakdown.
It was a long time coming. They say she had a rough upbringing of reported abuse. Then it happened to her girls.
She instructed them to tell me how the daddy stabbed her.
They thought she was handling everything well until it was too late.
It was an underflow of water that came up through a well.
They're now left with the pain of how quickly life can change.
Oh my God.
Heartbroken at the sight of video 2 Works For You shot last year of Sadia seemingly happy beside her mother only 1 year ago. Ahmad is still here at the Tulsa County Jail this evening. Her family tells me they understand she needs to be punished. They just hope she gets a fair trial. From the Tulsa County Jail, Ashley Holt, 2 Works for You.
All right, so that's it for her at this point. But I don't know if you saw any of that video, but she looks very, very happy with everything. She's smiling in every
being
shot.
led away from the police. Well, she's away from all them damn kids. 5 kids? Shit, I'd be exhausted. The only thing new that I found on that case were just the charges.
Which were what?
1 count of assault and battery with intent to kill, 2 counts of child neglect, and 1 count of first-degree arson.
Okay.
Nothing about the dogs and chickens, though. I mean, I haven't seen that in any of the articles.
Yeah, that was weird. That one kind of caught me off guard. Not only just that she killed the dogs and chickens, it's just like I didn't know you could actually. I mean, I guess you could, but that's got me thinking like if I could get chickens in my neighborhood, I wonder if I'd have to go through somebody to do that.
Get you some chickens.
Oh, I'd love to have some chickens. A couple.
You can go on Amazon, get you a chicken coop for about $400.
I'd build a chicken coop for I'd pay $400 for one. It's a chicken coop. What does it need?
Well,
love.
All right, Mr. Handyman.
You got to keep the wolves out of it.
Then go get you some 2x4s and some chicken wire.
I might just do that. I wonder if you could do that.
Sure you can.
You think so, really?
Fresh eggs. Fresh eggs.
No, I know what you get out of the chicken. I'm saying, do you think you could actually do it? I wonder if you could do that in the neighborhood.
It's not against the law to have a couple damn chickens.
I didn't know. It could be against the homeowners association to have chickens.
You don't have a homeowners association.
Yes, I do.
If you have HOA, I wouldn't count on it.
They're not. They're not an active one. They're based out of Seattle, so they're like very far away. But yeah, they operate by if anybody has a complaint, contact them. That's the way they operate. So that was just released on Facebook within the last 6 months. So now I actually go to our Facebook group for our neighborhood just to watch the neighbors bitching about other neighbors and seeing who's.
Well, then ask them if you can have a chicken.
I may just do that.
Do that.
I think that'd be awesome, man. I don't know how many eggs they lay. I'll look into that.
I'm sure if you share eggs, they'll be happy.
I ain't gonna share shit. I'm just curious how many eggs they lay. Because if it's just like 1 a week, it ain't worth the hassle to feed it.
Oh, Jesus.
Anyway, all right, our next one. This one had caused a little bit of discussion, and this was the nursing assistant in Florida who was accused of molesting an elderly disabled woman with a shower head. Did you hear about this one?
I did not until just right now.
Oh, this is Christina Napo. I got a picture of her here. Let's see here. Yeah, there she is. Christina Napo, she's a nursing assistant, and I guess she was teaching another nursing assistant on how to properly clean and care for this woman in case she wasn't around to do it, anymore. And she was using the shower head and instructing the assistant to hold it to the old woman's vagina until she started moaning. And I guess possibly they didn't say specifically that the nursing assistant must have thought that was very weird and must have reported her. So she ended up getting actually arrested and charged with I want to make sure I get this right. Oh, here it is.
I'm sorry, I'm just reading your last line.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's where the discussion comes into play. So she was charged with lewd and lascivious, you know what I mean, molestation of an elderly person, and which is a possible 5 years in prison and a $5,000 fine. Now, of course, a lot of people were talking about this one in regards to should she even be charged. The police say she should because the old woman was disabled and had supposedly the mental capacities of a child or something, and that there's no way she could have freely given consent even though she was an adult. That these were 2 adults, but because of her mental problems that she wouldn't have been able to actually do that from a legal sense. And then other people, were saying, well, you know, if the woman was just cleaning the lady with a shower head, and of course you want to make sure you get the nether regions, and the old woman was getting off on it, what's the big fucking deal? What's the crime?
There's a gray area there for sure.
Oh, there is one for sure on her.
Yeah. I mean, because we're going with the assistant or the other nurse's word.
Right. But you have to look at if the police went through I say that, but I was going to say if they went through the problem of not only just arresting her, but prosecutors went ahead and went forward with charges on her, there must have been that little bit of extra in the story to where did she tell that lady that that's why they were doing that it wasn't just for cleaning her, that they were basically saying, look, if you hold it here for her, she gets off on it, help the old lady out some, you know. I don't know.
That would definitely be different, but right now it's very vague.
Yes, it is. So I don't know I didn't look up to see what has happened with her since, and I don't think anything's going to happen that much more. I mean, that quick. I mean, we just reported on this on the 14th, so it never goes that quick. But I don't really see the issue in it too much if she wasn't hurting the lady. I don't know, because then you start saying that, and then you can apply it to, you know, if this had been a 10-year-old child. She wasn't hurt by it. She seemed she liked it, you know, and you wouldn't say that.
Well, right, and we don't know that the elderly woman liked it. Right?
Oh, she sounded like she did. They said she was moaning.
Well, I moan when I eat fucking bacon. That doesn't mean shit.
Did she drool?
I'm sure she was doing that beforehand.
Did her teeth falling?
They've been gone long ago.
Oh. No, I mean the fake one.
Yeah, they didn't say how old she was either. So when they say elderly, I don't know what that means, but I'm assuming that. Well, I don't guess it really matters if she has some. She had suffered some type of severe brain injury. They didn't say what had happened to her, but well, I guess basically the age really doesn't matter. You can throw that out. So I guess what you could say is, would it be legal for you to masturbate a retarded person?
I guess that depends on your title.
Does it?
If you're a CNA, probably it's illegal. If you're a hooker, probably not.
I think that's still illegal.
Not in some states.
Not the prostitution part, the being mentally retarded part. You see what I'm saying?
That shit, I don't know. Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think
because they can't consent.
I think that's what this whole thing's going to boil down to. Is well, for one, was she actually masturbating the chick? I guess that's the big question. Was she actually doing that, or was the act of cleaning that old ass vagina just a form of masturbation in and of itself because you're using a damn shower head? It ain't like she was scrubbing it with anything that we know of. Well, I'm just saying. So. Yeah, man, that's what I would not want to try this one. You know what I mean? So it would have to be whatever the assistant said that Miss Napo said about it. Like if she said, you know, if you hold the shower head here, she seems to get off on it, and don't stop until she starts moaning or whatever. Then that's masturbation, and then they would say, well, she couldn't consent to that. You basically molested her. But if they can prove that that's not exactly what she said, I don't know. This is going to be a weird one. I might actually keep up this one, even though I don't give a shit. I'm just curious which way they're going to go with that.
I wasn't until now, but thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to check on that one too.
Here's a real fast one. This was the gentleman out of Utah. A friend of some family came into their house, I think inebriated in some way, and the mother, it was a mother and her two children, a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old, and at some point in the night, she heard the baby monitor going off and heard her two kids making noise, so when she walked in the room, she caught a family friend, 48-year-old Jason Nez, performing a sex act on her 2-year-old girl. And I guess a scuffle happened or something, and he fled the home and ended up turning himself back in. And I didn't have all the details on this, and it didn't come out till a little bit later. And there really wasn't that much, but supposedly when he was apprehended, he said that he knew he had a problem. And he doesn't remember much about what happened that night.
The problem is he doesn't have nearly enough bruises on his face.
Well, yeah, no, I agree, but
we've seen that one. I think it's just because it was the chick, and maybe when she walked in, could you imagine you walk in and then you see a family friend doing that, and then that little bit of shock and that surrealness of what are you fucking looking at? Like, what are you doing? And you know, he probably just bolted out immediately, and she didn't have much time to do anything. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think this was in the article that she actually, the first thing she did was fled the home with her kids, just in case. Which was a pretty smart move. Just in case he wanted to come back.
Suppose.
Well, I mean, he could have wanted to come back, and he got half a block away, and was like, wait a minute here. This is some witnesses I got to take care of or whatever. So she left. But anyway, he ended up turning himself in. That was it. He got he's facing charges of sodomy of a child and lewdness involving a child under the age of 14. So I guess he was giving her oral. Ooh, yeah, that's what he was doing. So you basically walked in on that. That woman walked in on that.
Oh, too many fucking visuals during this podcast.
Yeah,
wow.
Remember that one we had where the father walked in and found that older boy having sex with his younger son, and he ended up turning that kid's face into like a cartoon character. It was like a real popular. It was a real popular. Yep. I'm assuming that we're still streaming. I have to go look and see. Yeah, we are. Man. Everything about this computer today has just really just been great. And I thought we was actually going to have one where nothing went wrong.
Right. Sure.
Then we had the one in Seneca Falls, New York, where the couple was initially... You son of a bitch. That stupid-ass scan thing came back up on me. Oh, my God. I got to do some cleaning on this computer. Now there's a new virus scanner on it. That's just awesome. This was that couple that was initially arrested because they beat the crap out of a 3-year-old, and he was beaten so bad he was like in a coma. What was their names? Donald and Allison Bovio.
Love his tattoo.
Yeah, I'm gonna get his picture up here real quick so people can enjoy that, and I'm pretty sure we do have a video on it.
Oh yeah, the still shot shows 2 lightning bolts.
Yeah, two lightning bolts.
On his forehead.
Right up on his forehead.
They said basically because both of them got arrested, but supposedly he's the stepfather, and supposedly he went holy hell on this kid, and at some point they either purposely or in the process bashed the kid's head on the floor, and that's what initially, I guess, ultimately killed him, because the boy didn't end up dying after we posted the article. So they've now been charged accordingly, and man, they have thrown the book at him. Hold on one second here, and we'll see if I can pull this up for once.
Well, dude hasn't even been out of trouble for very long.
No, and you'll have to give the details on that because I don't remember.
He got off probation in March.
Yeah. Hold on here, because I want you to see what they ended up charging this cat with. Or actually both of them. As soon as it pulls up. Which it's not going to do. They gave them a laundry list of charges. I think they were initially charged with I don't remember what they charged him with. I'm looking at it here to see, but it had something to do with just beating the kid. Yep, I didn't put that on. I didn't put that in there what they charged him with. But they had said that if anything happened to the kid, that they were going to upgrade the charges, which of course is what they did. Here it is. Okay, now here's what they're looking at, and this is crazy because I don't normally see one that's this detailed. You know, sometimes you'll see like 3 counts of second-degree murder or whatever. So count 1, second-degree murder, a felony. That's for intentionally killing. Peter was the boy's name. Count 2, second-degree murder. It says under the second murder count, the Bovios have been charged with having a depraved indifference to human life and recklessly causing Peter's death. Count 3 is second-degree murder, which and that's why a lot of people I don't think realize that when people get charged with multiples of the same count, that this is why. Count 3 of second-degree murder was the third and final murder count against the accused couple of acting with depraved indifference to human life for killing Peter. But the charge also includes the ages of the Bovios and the boy. At the time of the crime, the couple was older than 18 and Peter was younger than 11. Count 4, first-degree manslaughter. Count 5, first-degree manslaughter again. Count 6, second-degree manslaughter again. Count 7, reckless assault of a child. Count 8, second-degree assault. Count 9, second-degree assault. Count 10, fourth-degree criminal possession of a weapon. Count 11, endangering the welfare of a child. And count 12, another endangering the welfare of a child. So they've got 12 counts against them now.
And the article that I'm reading says that's a max. It could be a max sentence of 25 years.
For all that, really?
Okay, and to life. All right, 15 to 25 years to life.
Gotcha.
But it also said his name is.
They're calling him Peter.
I'm not going to say that.
What?
His name. It's not Peter.
Well, why are they calling him Peter in this?
Because it's Panagiotis or something.
His first name?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they call him Peter. You're right. His name is... Yeah, I'm not going to rape that name.
Yeah, I can't even. No way.
Panagiotis? Panagiotis?
Panayotis.
What did you say, Pagan?
I think it's Panayotis. Hold on, let me look.
Yeah, I bet that's it.
Well,
it's P-A-N-A-G-I-O-T-I-S.
Yes, that is correct.
So how is that again?
So that's Greek.
See, that's why I knew we needed a Muslim on this podcast. Thanks, dude.
Right? Yeah.
You're welcome.
So, and pronounce it for me again.
Panayotis is Peter in Greek.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's supposed to be the first out of 2 Greek-related subjects we're going to have today. So I don't know what's going on with you guys. You guys rarely are on our site, but you are today.
Well.
So yeah. So yeah, they're in for a good bit of jail. And it was interesting when they had some video footage of him coming out of the jail. He basically said he didn't do it, and then they asked did he have any remorse, and he said yes. So kind of seems.
Yeah, sure he does.
Well, it just seems kind of productive to say you didn't do it and then have remorse over it. Doesn't make any sense. Another one, we've had a couple like this before. In fact, there was one recently. This is the man in Michigan who was charged with incest after his daughter, his 20-year-old daughter, gave birth to his daughter. So we've had incest stories like this one before. In fact, we had one that ended really tragically here recently where he ended up killing her and the baby, if I'm not mistaken, and himself.
I don't recall that one.
Yeah, it was a big one. I'm just not recalling it. But anyway, I'm gonna see if I can play this fucking video without a damn.
The biggest mistake.
Yeah, there's an ad. Whatever. We get to give some people some money here real quick. Because there's a part of this, and I'm curious if they're actually going to say it in the newscast.
Mistake you can make after an accident is to try to take on the insurance company yourself. The insurance company only makes money when you don't.
I guess I need to get some type of an ad blocker. And you know what?
Defend, run you in circles.
I'm sorry, I'm not playing it. It's a 17 more seconds left on this ad. So you know what we'll do? There we go. We'll just play it in the background until it's over. But yeah, the family had suspected he had been doing something with this girl since she was 15 years old. So I'm sure there's a lot of detail. Well, here it is. Let's play this real quick.
As a son, by the defendant. What is she supposed to do?
Accused of sexually abusing his daughter, who is now 20 years old, and getting her pregnant.
It's just madness. It's tearing our whole family apart.
Arraigned on 2 counts of third-degree criminal sexual conduct, incest, 37-year-old Gregory St. Andre faces a judge in Mount Clemens.
Your Honor, we acknowledge receipt of the information. The witness list will waive formal reading, and my client will stand mute as to the charges.
Warren police say the mother of St. Andre's daughter came to Warren police in February after the 20-year-old gave birth to a baby boy.
So she had actually reported this after she gave birth in February, is what she just said, right? So what is it? March, April. It's in May. So what do you think? DNA? They waited to do a test on it or something to make sure it was actually his?
I would hope so.
I mean, I think that's why it took so long before they charged him.
The St. Andre's family says they suspected abuse long before.
We've been through this for years. It started years ago.
St. Andre's wife, who is filing for divorce, says she and other relatives suspected abuse for...
And that's another thing. She's filing for divorce now. So if they had suspected he was doing something with this girl, I don't know. That just seemed that like there's a lot of details we'll probably never get, but that whole family situation doesn't sound normal whatsoever.
Really? No, not a bit.
Unable to get the attention of law enforcement. And
well, they said she. She says she did. She said they've been trying to get police involved for years, and they never could get them involved. But my question would be, if that's what you were stating was the divorce, if you suspected that your husband was, God damn you, that's that app. If you suspected that your husband was having any type of relationship with their own daughter enough that you were going to police, why the hell would you still be with them? I guess that's the part I just don't get quite yet.
Unable to get her daughter to discuss it.
She's very embarrassed, confused, angry.
Warren police say originally St. Andre said he never had intercourse with his daughter, that he gave her a cup of his semen and he, quote, doesn't know what she did with it.
That's the big part.
Whoa.
That's the big part right there, is the fact that that's his defense, is that, yeah, he's not denying it's his kid, but hey, I gave her a cup of my semen, and I don't know what the hell she did with it.
Right. Like it was like some cough syrup or something.
Or because she asked for it? I mean, was it like a birthday present? We spoil our children these days, I'm telling you.
I know a lot of people were ragging on that, saying, how could he expect anybody to believe that? But I don't think that's his tactic. Let's just say that for whatever reason that you are this guy and you've been fucking your daughter and you knock her up and now you're busted for doing it. What defense do you have? Because the evidence is crying right next in the next room.
Oh, anything other than I gave her a cup of semen and I don't know what she did with it. I was sleepwalking. I have amnesia.
No,
I don't fucking know.
No.
I'm a fucking pervert. Really? A cup of semen?
Because any of that means that you actually had physical contact with the girl. So amnesia or not, you can still be charged for having sex with her. But the cup of semen thing's actually a smart move, because if he can get her, if he can get her to admit it because she doesn't want to see her dad go to prison,
smart move.
It is. It's a very
smart. I let her borrow a pair of my underwear.
He could totally.
I didn't know it was a pair that I had ejaculated in, and she wore it, but she needed it. She got
there you go.
Yeah, he could have said he could have said anything that because all he's trying to do is get the actual physical contact out of the equation. So all he's got to hope for now, no matter how ridiculous that story is that he can get this daughter of his to say the same thing, because she doesn't want to see daddy go to jail. And supposedly he has continually tried to contact her to the point to where they have raised his bond up because of what he's trying to do. He's like trying to contact her boyfriend. He's trying to contact her through social media. So I think that's all he's trying to do. Yeah, I guess so. He needs a phone. So I think that all he's just trying to do is throw a one massive Hail Mary in the form of a cup of semen to hopefully get him out of prison.
Yeah, well, good luck, buddy.
Yeah, well, this all depends on the daughter. If he's been fucking her for 5 years, and now they have a baby together, there's no telling what she might do.
Well, if they did DNA on the baby exists. It's got his DNA. How do you even fight that with a cup of semen? Oh, never mind.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He's just because if he can actually get her to admit that, yeah, I'm a wacky chick. I wanted my daddy's baby, and I asked him for a cup of semen, and he gave it to me because he's a fucking idiot, and then I used a turkey baster and impregnated myself. Then what crime did he commit? I don't think there is one. I'm saying if he can get her to actually go that route, and I think that the chances are extremely slim to none, but it's his only shot. He doesn't have another shot. The baby exists. So anyway, I think that's why he went with something so stupid. I don't think he gives a shit if anybody believes it or not. He just has to get the girl to go along with it, and if that's the case, there is no case.
Police say text messages between the two speak volumes.
This is a horrible, horrible thing.
That was the last thing. That's right. He's got one very, very big problem. And these text messages that police supposedly found paint a completely different story that go totally against the cup of semen defense.
Well, I take it she didn't text him, asking permission to have a cup of semen.
I'm sure that whatever relationship they have can be seen in these messages back and forth. This is my guess. So I think that's why even that Hail Mary, he's just shit out of luck. I think he's busted, depending on what these text messages are. Especially if he loses anything like, come on, just say it, whatever. I don't know what they are, but police seem to believe that this is those text messages will be the final nail in getting him convicted.
It's happened.
The woman's family says a no-contact order against St. Andre has been useless. St. Andre calling her his daughter's boyfriend and messaging her through social media.
The defendant having contact with her, again, is just absolutely inexcusable.
Your Honor, my client, quite frankly, is prepared to plead guilty. Right. He did attempt to communicate with her.
Hold on a second. We got to stop here. Hold on a second here. Somebody said that we're not even on YouTube anymore.
Well, it says 9 people are watching.
Yeah, they may just still be sitting there wanting to know what the hell's going on. I'm asking somebody in chat right now. Remember when I told you my OBS studio restarted?
Mm-hmm.
I think it may have. Okay, never mind. Tote said it was working. All right. Anyway, we'll continue. Tote said it was still working, so.
Snapchat while on bond.
Meanwhile, prosecutors Monday filing an emergency motion to revoke St. Andre's bond.
The allegations in this case are so incredibly serious.
The defense claiming St. Andre has, quote, gotten the message not to contact his daughter. His bond increased to $60,000 cash.
This is an incest case. And it's just...
She may have been talking about the video I was playing. I didn't have it up on the screen because I was watching the video over the stream.
Disgusting. And he shouldn't be walking around.
Right now, Gregory St. Andre is scheduled for a pretrial conference here in Mount Clemens, June 26th. In Macomb County, I'm Erica Erickson, Fox 2 News.
So anyway, that's it for that guy. But yeah, I think he's in, and I don't think he's going to be able to get out of that one at all.
No, he's
probably not.
Shit.
All right, let's. This is the big one, and I didn't really need to spend that much time talking about those other ones, but this was one of the big ones we had, and a lot of debates and arguments have come out of this one. This is the one out of Oklahoma where the 52-year-old Tracy Garcia, and again, I may be one of the guilty parties just because I just scan headlines, and this is the lady that was reportedly mauled to death by a pack of dachshunds. So,
yeah.
And a lot of stuff has come out of this from the anti-pit bull people and the pro-pit bull people. And the big question still remains. It's not did this poor lady get mauled to death by a pack of her neighbor's dogs, because she definitely did. The big question is what the fuck were those dogs? Because if they were Dachshunds, they were steroided up fucking Dachshunds, right?
Right, they came out of a lab.
Right. So you've got multiple pieces of information coming from different people, where the sheriff was saying pit bull at first, and then a vet place where the bodies were taken to was saying that they were dachshunds mixed. But now there's a lot of information coming out in regards to that the dogs were definitely, to some, pit bull mixes. So, it just depends on, I don't know which way to go. They weren't dachshunds, though. At this point in time, now after reading everything and looking at everything, regardless of what the one vet said, these weren't dachshunds. So
I am not surprised.
My headline is part of the problem at the moment.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was horrified.
Just the thought of it.
Yes, just the thought of being attacked by a fucking gang of dachshunds that were mixed with something, you know?
Right.
They're long, yet vicious, you know, with those stubby legs and just chewing the shit out of your legs, you know, right there at the bottom.
Well, here's one of the and granted, I don't know what the bias is with this particular website here. So they could be very anti-pit bull. I have no idea. But regardless, they do bring up some interesting points about the dogs and some pictures of their dead bodies. If nobody wants to actually see them, they are going to be popping up here in 1 second. But they bring up a bunch of information that proved, at least in their eyes, that these absolutely were not dachshunds whatsoever. And they're actually also landblasting any websites that were reporting it as dachshunds, like we were. But
I want to see a sketch of this dog.
You don't need to see a sketch. I can show you their dead bodies.
Oh.
Yeah.
I just pictured a bunch of wiener dogs just on the attack, and that's the cutest thing I've seen all week.
Yeah, it's so cute, though. You can't run from it. You want to just fuck with them and
play ball, you know?
You know, play ball, roll on the ground with them.
Yeah, the whole biting and tearing apart thing isn't working for me.
Well, that's a picture of them, and they do not look like dachshunds. They don't look like pits to me either, but then again, I don't know. Pit bull's not necessarily a breed of dog. Pit bull encompasses a range of terriers, if I'm not mistaken. So they got.
Okay, so the picture of the dog that's standing on all fours, is that supposed to be a representative of what all of those dogs are?
At least what was in those dogs. Not that these dogs were that, but that breed was in them. Let me see if I can.
Kind of looks like Spuds McKenzie.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Bull terriers. They're just bull terriers, but
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and here's another picture of him here too. Well. Anyway, this was the picture that they was circulating on the web, and I know you can't see it because I don't have it enlarged enough, and I don't really want to put these dead dogs up too big. But anyway, one of the reasons why they kept saying it was dachshunds was because the front legs of one of the dogs wasn't even longer than a human hand. But in regards to this website, they talk about that this was this is all fake news, that these were definitely some type of pit bull mix. But again, I don't know anything about this website. What they do point out, though...
Well, I kind of thought when I first saw...
Yeah?
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
When I saw the headline, I thought it was fake.
Oh, yeah. Well, I hate that the woman died, of course. I mean, that being said...
Well, especially if it was from dachshunds,
or anything, but my whole reason why I even posted it was because to give pit bulls kind of a break, because I'm always accused of being anti-pit bull, because the majority of our stories are about pit bulls killing people, because the majority of people getting killed by dogs are killed by pit bulls. But I figured I'd give them a break, because people say you never report when it's another dog, which I do if I see it. And of course, this was one I saw, and I was like, oh damn, dachshund. That's one I never thought I'd see, and that's what the articles were saying at the time. So that's what I posted, and then of course all the arguments and everything came out afterwards.
Is it even possible to be eaten alive by a pack of Wiener dogs?
If they're hungry and you're incapacitated.
Oh, I 100% think so.
I think Dachshunds
you're
were
already
bred.
dead.
That they were bred as hunting dogs. Dachshunds were.
Especially if they're wild rabid ones.
Yeah, and these were actually, but for the most part, they lived outdoors. Supposedly that they lived in the woods or whatever. They weren't like indoor dogs or anything.
Right. They've never had an ounce of love given to them. It's all been survival, right?
And I
just can't make this play out in my head in a mean way. I just can't do it. It's just too fucking cute.
Well, these weren't cute dogs. These were.
I would love to see some vicious dogs. That would be like the wildest thing.
Well, that's the argument now is in between the pit bull lovers and the pit bull haters on what the hell were these dogs. And you can see it even on our Facebook page, people going back and forth on what the hell these dogs were, so they would know who to blame or who not to blame. And
we're pretty sure they're not dachshunds.
No.
Well, we can't blame the breed.
Yeah, you can.
Even if it is a dachshund.
It all goes back to the owner.
No, it does not.
Just like a gun. It goes back to the owner.
Completely different. Completely different.
Somebody's trying to start some shit.
That dog didn't kill them.
The owner did.
The owner did.
Somebody's stirring up shit.
Did you see the pit bull drop off that came out of that? Somebody posted in our Facebook group about the pit bull drop off, and which turned out to be totally fake. That was just some shit somebody had brought up, but I guess that's being spread everywhere now that people think that's real.
I was having, and not to go too far off topic here, but I was having a discussion with somebody the other day about how it is very, very, very possible to fake a Facebook status or message.
Yeah?
They still have apps for that. I mean, it happened back in the forums, I don't know how long ago, that people were victims of a fake Facebook status, and it still happens. They have apps for it with your fucking cell phone. So it's a lot harder now than to take everything as truth. Just because you saw it on fucking Facebook.
Well, and it's so easy to share it too, and it just gets, before you know it, it's just all over the place. It's definitely not like it used to be.
No, it's not. It used to be a fun place.
The second top story of the week was the clown in Belgium that ended up killing his ex-girlfriend with the help of his yodeling partner. I'm not making that up. This is absolutely true. I guess 30-year-old, I'm not going to be able to pronounce some of these names. This was in Belgium, but 31-year-old Kevin. I guess I can pronounce it.
Wow.
I don't know his last name, Lapierre or whatever. I don't know, but he's a very famous clown in Belgium because they have those over there. And he was very bitter over a breakup with his 47-year-old girlfriend because her 3 kids, teenagers, pretty much 12, 15, and 17, they did not like this guy at all. And he was very upset with the fact that they just didn't like him. So she ended up just breaking off the relationship because it wasn't getting any better at all. So he went to her house with his yodeling partner. And you'll see some of those guys here in 1 second. In fact, I want to go ahead and put up his fucking stupid ass clown fucking picture.
He's not even a very good clown.
No, that's him. Toby the clown. Hocus Pocus Toby.
Shitty name too, by the way.
Yeah, it's Belgium.
Toby the clown. Not that there's anything wrong with Toby, but just Toby the clown.
Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. Wait till you see the video of him. So anyway, he went to the house, and the initial stories were that he filmed himself stabbing her to death in front of her 3 teenage children as a form of revenge. But I guess what actually is now turning out happened, he had tied them up upstairs and then got into he said he went over to the house to try to patch things up, and it was Mother's Day, and he was trying to patch things up, and she didn't want nothing to do with it, so he ended up stabbing her to death in the garage. And so after he was finished, him and the yodeler fled, and the yodeler got caught in another town, and he got caught, get this, after streaming on Facebook Live, him on top of a 13-story building, I guess trying to get cops to shoot him as he was throwing shit off the roof. And he had a gun that he was shooting in the air and stuff. But
was he yodeling? Because that would have been fantastic.
No, he's not the yodeler. That's his partner.
Well, see, okay. I don't know how I got confused there.
Yeah,
I know. Toby's just a clown. No, Toby's just a clown, man. He just does clown stuff. It was his partner that yodeled, and I'll give you a little bit of that. You'll love this.
I don't want to hear any yodeling. No, I don't really want to hear.
You're not going to hear yodeling.
Toby's like,
you're going to see Toby.
Toby's like, I'm a clown. No, you're a fucking clown, dude.
Well, he told the kids that he was now going to be a crimi clown. That's what he told the kids. And he also called their school and told them that they were going to be late that Monday.
Did you say crimi clown?
That's what he said, yes. Because he used to go to hospital rooms and cheer up sick kids. And he made a reference to that. He was no longer going to be that type of clown. He was now going to be a crimi clown.
Oh my God! Did somebody shoot him? Please fucking shoot him!
I want to see if I can get a picture of him. Get this video of him up here.
Dames en heren, appels en peren, jongens en meisjes, chocolade en ijsjes.
I just blew my eardrums out.
Mine too.
Here he is. Toby the Clown. He's got a great song when he comes out. That music sounds like Belgium. That Euro trashy synth stuff. Here he is. Ah.
Wow. He doesn't even look like a clown. He's doing it wrong.
It was very minimal effort.
What the hell is that?
It's Toby.
A tent?
That's a tent.
A pop tent?
Ooh. Oh, wow.
Oh, you see, now here he is waving his wand around.
A cup of semen with a fish in it.
Right.
His next date.
Wait, I'm behind.
I don't know, but I wish the Dachshunds would come out.
Right?
Right now.
I just don't get clown stuff. I truly don't. And not to jump on the bandwagon of clown hating, I just never, ever understood it. Even when I was a kid, I didn't like seeing them. I wasn't scared of them. I just didn't give a fuck about a clown, ever.
No, me neither.
Especially this one.
He does some decent tricks. There's one. So anyway, that's Toby the Clown. Now his partner, let's see if I can find him here real quick, because you'll like this.
Well, there's one clown I like, Krusty.
Yes.
I like that last It clown, the newer one. I liked him better than I know it's blasphemy, but I liked him better than the original one.
The original one sucked. The original It sucked.
The yodeler's name was Dietwin Hagemon. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's not what his name is.
That is what it says that his name is. All right, here we go. So you can see
God,
this
I
guy
don't
in
want to hear a
action.
yodeler. Ouch. Ouch. You can stop.
Hell no. So anyway, point being is these guys were actually kind of celebrity status in Belgium, so it was kind of a big deal to a certain extent. They were actually on their.
I wonder how high the bar is there then. If these guys were their best.
They didn't say they were their best. They were their best yodeler and clown. We have those here too. We just don't know who they are because nobody gives a shit. But over there, they know who they are, and they even played on their version of Belgium's Got Talent. They were even on that show. So anyway, this guy punked out anyway, and he didn't let the cops kill him or anything. He actually turned himself in, and he did say, I went to her house because I wanted to see her for Mother's Day, but we got words, and then I killed her. How? I stabbed her in the garage, he said, adding that the children actually did not observe their mother being slain because they were tied up above. Not that it matters any, but still, that was a kind of a sick twist to the whole thing, that he was butchering this woman with her kids watching in some type of act of revenge. But
it sounds like a really bad horror movie.
Yeah, well, the way I envisioned it was, when I was typing it up, as if he was dressed like Toby the Clown, and while he was torturing this woman, that yodeler guy was yodeling in the garage. That would be pretty nightmarish, right?
Right. In his uniform.
Yeah, and there's lederhosen.
Right.
That'd scar him for life.
And he's laughing a little bit, of course.
And
Clown
let's
has
see
to laugh
here.
every now and then.
The last one we had, and I was debating on playing the video, but the number one story was the woman in British Columbia who took a big old shit on the floor of Tim Hortons and threw it at the staff. So, Pagan, I don't know if you saw this video or not.
No.
Oh, well, you're
I
in
have
for a
not.
treat. I don't think I'm not too worried about it right now. It's only our second episode, and it's not like I make money off this thing anyway. So we'll go ahead and play the video. It's on YouTube, so at this point we'll just see. We'll see how long this podcast actually stays up with this on here. There's a bit of nudity in it in regards to her ass crack, and not counting the liquid shit that plops on the floor. But here we go. Yeah, you'll like this one.
I'm on a little bit of a delay, so...
That's fine. Just let me know, because I can't watch this lady's shit come out of her ass again. So just let me know when it's done. There's no audio to this, by the way.
I'm not...
Yes, you got to. You got to at least watch the end
No,
result.
Pagan,
Yes, here we go. So she's arguing with the employee because he would not let her go use the restroom. They knew who she was, and they didn't want her in the restroom. So here she goes. Right on the other side of the wall she's shitting on is a man sitting there waiting on his food. And she just monkey through, shit at the employees, wipes her ass with napkins and throw those at them too, and then leaves. So that was that whole story that has blown up, was this woman who took a shit on the floor and threw it at the employees. And the later info was the fact that they were denying her access to the restroom. And they did detain her in the parking lot, but they let her go with a promise that she'll show up for court. And that's all anybody knows about the story. So that was it. That was the top 10 stories. Did you not watch it at all, Jaded, at all?
No, that's nasty. No.
It's not that
I
bad.
saw it.
It's not that bad.
She flung that like a boss, though.
Yeah, she did. And what got me was the no hesitation. Like, it hit the ground, and she reached down and scooped it all up in one handful and threw it.
It may not even, I couldn't see it as well because of what I'm viewing it on right now. But, wow, she picked it up so fast. I don't even know if it had time to hit the floor.
Oh,
I guess it did.
It had to, because I saw liquid. Somebody said there wasn't, because I wouldn't watch it again. But, because, it wasn't the shitting part that made me sick. It just looked like liquid came out, too, and then that kind of got me sick.
Yeah, she was very calm while she was doing it. She was there for a minute, and then when I guess it dropped, she just, wow.
Yeah.
She just started flinging, like you said, like a monkey.
Like a chimpanzee, like with that precision of a gorilla at the zoo, slinging it at when you always see him slinging it at the window.
Yeah. So did the feces hit anybody, like in the face?
It doesn't say, but if that thing had even like 2% liquid to it, the way she threw it and how fast and accurate she was, even if she didn't hit somebody, if she hit anything, the splatter was going to hit somebody. Somebody got shit on them. Oh,
yeah, somebody got shit on
and
their
get
ass,
this,
that's right.
and that reminds me. I went to a graduation party last night. It was it's a lot of Polish people there, and well, I was gonna get into something I'm not gonna get into. But what relates to this shit story was the fact is that the girl that lived there used to have this giant schnauzer called Omen, and Pagan can attest to this, and I'm not exaggerating. The dog was terrifying. It was a giant, all-black schnauzer, and the only thing you could see on it face-wise was its teeth. Other than that, it was just this big, black, giant fucking schnauzer.
And it had an attitude.
It kind of had an attitude, and I was scared to death of it. But she was a real good friend of ours, and we would go over there all the time. And I would just ignore the dog, and every now and then they would fuck with me with it, and it would end up coming and put its head on my lap, and then you would pet it, and if you stopped, it would get a little aggravated. So I got stuck sitting here petting this dog I was afraid of. Anyway, this dog ended up dying at some point. And she called me up and asked me if I could help her take the dog to the vet so they can dispose of it. And I was like, I'll help you, but I'm not going to help you load the dog up or anything like that. And she says, well, no. And it had been dead for a while. It died in its doghouse outside. It was like this big big plastic igloo. Anyway, so I did. We took the dog. She'd already had it loaded up in there. It was like a Escalade or something, and we went and took it to the vet to where they disposed of it. But it stunk like shit because it had been dead for so long. It just smelled like just whatever you think a dead dog would smell like after a few days in the hot summer sun. But that was the end of that story until last night. I was talking with my buddy who was there, and we were just talking about old times and shit, and we brought up that dog. And I told him, I said, he was like, I went and disposed of some of that for her. And I was like, no way, dude, that was me. I'll never forget it, because I was actually kind of like a little bit happy, but it was still, just because I wouldn't have to deal with the dog anymore. But and I was telling him just, that whole story about how it smelled and all this stuff. And he goes, oh, well, no. He goes, no, I didn't take the dog. He goes, I took that igloo. And so he told me that him and one of our other buddies, that this girl had asked him, because he had a truck, if they could take the igloo somewhere out of the backyard and go dump it somewhere. And he said, sure, no problem. So they went and loaded it up one night, and they went behind some business somewhere to go use the dumpster. And he said him and this dude picked up the doghouse to go put it into the fucking dumpster. And he said this juice ran out of the fucking doghouse and went down his arm into his armpit.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, he had, like, liquefied dead dog excrement that ran down. And I was just, I don't know if you ever had anything run down your arm accidentally and go up your sleeve into your armpit before. Like, I changed oil one time and had that happen. It was just the worst. But it was just oil, so it was just more aggravating than it was anything. But I just couldn't imagine, like, dead dog ass juice. Just anyway, he said he not only could he not wash it off because he was in a parking lot behind a business, he had to drive home and smell it because it was right there at his armpit. But he had to smell this the whole way home. Anyway, that just reminded me when we were talking about the shit story. But Pagan, I know you remember the dog, but I don't think you'd ever heard of the end result.
No, I mean, I remember the dog very well, and no matter how many times somebody said, oh, he won't hurt you, yeah, not buying it, but cool. And then I remember the death, and I remember that you helping dispose, but I've never heard this part.
I didn't either. And that was what was so weird about it. It was like, how 20 years later, I got the no pun intended, the ass end of that story. I never even knew that they had taken that doghouse anywhere. Anyway, which does not lead us into, but we're going to, and that is the big school shooting that we just had here recently. And go ahead.
I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't read a single about this.
Well, I think Jane, he may know even more about it than I do. I know the details of it. You had another loner kid, supposedly bullied and whatnot, went into a Santa Fe high school in Texas, and I think they said he had a shotgun and a .38, and he shot up the students, selectively picked the students he was shooting, and supposedly from what they're saying now, he was playing some type of Japanese political music on his phone, while singing "Another One Bites the Dust" every time he shot one of the kids that he supposedly picked out. One of them being a girl that had publicly humiliated him the week before, spurning his romantic advances of some type. So, and the reason why I say that this kid was a little bit different than the other ones is I think this one's going to be a little bit more talkative, and I'm kind of glad he pussied out. He was going to kill himself, but he chickened out and didn't do it, and I'm kind of glad he didn't, only because I'm not one of these pro-gun, Second Amendment loving type people, but I'm also not one that believes that you got to get rid of the Second Amendment to protect these very small percentages of people that do this, even if it does look like it's an uptick. And I could go on and on and on my views on it, but no matter what I say, because I don't say ban guns, I'll always come out looking like some gun nut. So I just keep my mouth shut over it. It's just a shame, more or less, to me. Every time one of these things happen, it immediately turns political. I mean, within 1 second, it turns political. And so I don't think that's where the problem is. I don't think it's guns. We do have an issue with guns in America, and the fact that they're produced way too much, and we have kind of a culture surrounding them. But other than that, to me, if you want to stop things like that, you have to do two things, in my view. And one of them is to identify and figure out why these particular kids do these things. Why are they wanting to hurt a group of people, of their peers, like this? And I don't know if that's even necessarily possible. I think you can make headway on that. But I think the other one is to not turn them into celebrities. They've said for time and time again that the one thing you should not do in these particular cases is to lead the stories with body counts, with sirens blaring, putting their picture and their name all over the place, and reporting on it incessantly, because all that's going to do is spawn the next one. That's all it does, and that's why these things seem to happen in threes. Not going with that old everything happens in threes, but it does seem to happen in threes, that you'll get the copycats coming along who want that same level of fame, regardless of why they're getting it. So that's why I don't ever post any more school shootings. I don't write them up. I mean, nobody's reading us for news. I mean, some come to us for news, but we're not like a breaking news place. So I don't think that we would actually.
They're coming to us for a different kind of news. Correct,
but just my own philosophy is I'm just not going to write these things up. But I'll definitely talk about them. But I don't know what your guys' views are on how do you stop these things and what we should do in the future to stop them. And I don't know if there's an actual answer to it. Me personally know that, taking guns out of legal responsible gun owners' hands is not the answer. It's not going to solve absolutely anything. In fact, these guns weren't his. And another thing too, I've noticed that this story has not been like blasted all over the news 24/7 like some of the other ones were. And my sneaking suspicion is because he did not use an AR type rifle.
There you go.
I think that's the reason why it's not all over the place. Because boy, do they love those or love hating them.
I think you're exactly right. Why it hasn't been blasting the news like the past ones have.
Because wasn't that the big argument? Well, if he wouldn't have had an AR, he wouldn't have been able to hit those many people. I think I always see that argument.
Right, bump stocks and that sort of thing.
Right, which have nothing to do with anything, honestly. You can kill just as many people, if not more, with a couple handguns than you can with an AR-type rifle, especially if you're just randomly shooting. If anybody actually does any shooting or has actually shot any type of rifle like that, there's no difference between those and just your standard hunting rifle. I mean, they shoot the same. And if you're using any type of bump stock or doing any type of spray and pray, like the guy was doing out in Vegas, they're actually very lucky if he was using a bump stock, because if he wasn't and he was actually aiming his shots, he probably could have doubled or tripled the numbers of people he killed.
Right, if he was sniping.
If he was sniping, which it doesn't sound like he wasn't. It was more like a shooting fish in a barrel type thing is what he was doing. Not saying that's not a valid tactic if that's what you're after. I'm just saying it didn't have any, this, the type of weapon he used, to me, is just inconsequential. To me, my philosophy is to figure out why these people do things like that. So hopefully that you can see the markers for it. And I mean, goddamn, they do all this other study with serial killers, and you got all these other things where they got all these markers for this or that, and And I understand that a lot of these kids seem like that they're like everybody's known them, the loner, trench coat wearing, edgy teen. I mean, if that was the only marker for it, then you'd probably have to lock up a small percentage of every school in the United States, because there's tons of them.
Well, I thought the general consensus was it was the bullied ones.
Well, yeah, I mean, that seems to always be a part of it, but by being a loner in nature, you're going to get bullied. I mean, so I don't know. Like I said, I don't think that there's like an answer. I think there's a series of steps and things you can do, and of course, I can be coming off sounding completely ignorant because I'm not an expert on any of these things. I just know that I don't think that strengthening already existing gun laws is going to stop something like this. If a kid wants to hurt his peers in mass numbers and they don't have access to a gun, I firmly believe they will use something else, whether it's a homemade pipe bomb, whether it's just a knife like that one kid did they barely reported on, or it's just mowing them down in a parking lot with his own vehicle, which other people use that as a valid weapon, as a truck.
There would be an alternative.
Correct.
For sure.
So I think people focus way too much on the weapon someone uses and not on the reasons why they chose to do it. And I think that's very important. It's not going to bring these kids back by no means at all. So, but it could possibly save some future ones. But that just me. A lot of people are also pointing out that he had like an iron cross on his trench coat, and they're trying to link it to Nazism, which of course I'm sure a comment somewhere has already linked this and made this Trump's fault. But this kid he had pins of all kinds of shit on his stuff.
And all those pins supposedly meant something.
Yeah, he had like a rainbow. He had the satanic stuff on his trench coat. I mean, he was just almost like anything edgy he could stick on his fucking trench coat. He stuck it on there. I don't think he subscribed to any particular belief at this point. I mean, maybe it will come out later he did, but right now it's not. And I wouldn't base it on a pin he stuck on his trench coat. I had a big ass A on an army jacket, and I didn't even know what the fuck that meant.
I did.
I went until later, but even then, I mean, even once I did realize what it stood for, I still didn't totally get what anarchy actually meant. I knew what the definition of it was, but I didn't totally get. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying as a kid, if you're trying to shock, I mean, think of some of the shit that we wore, and most of it was just to piss off adults. That's all it was for. We listened to a lot of satanic shit back in the day, and at no point in time did we actually believe any of it. It was just because it was fucking, ooh, look at these scary teens worshiping the devil.
Right. We're not here to hold devil worship right now out of these kids. It's not like it's heavy metal music influencing them, or some crazy movie, or a video game. It's just they want to shoot some shit.
Well, that's my whole thing with this kid, or kids like him. It's not the point that he was being edgy. It's not the point that he was being a loner. It's not because that's just being a teenager for the most part. Even popular teens still feel isolated. There's just different paths you can take. It's just what would make him actually take that final step to not just kill somebody, but to actually purposely go and kill 10 fucking people. And he actually picked them out, supposedly, and he didn't kill the people he liked. So.
True.
Well, maybe since he is so talky, we'll get a little bit more information on this one.
Well, that's what I'm hoping with him, in conjunction with that other kid that didn't kill himself either, the last guy. He's still around, so you would hope that maybe they'll be able to get some info from him. If they don't already have this stuff already, I just don't know what you would actually do with it. Because again, if you're looking at this kid's action at the school, he wasn't actually out doing. That other kid was actually saying he was going to do stuff like this, and nobody did anything. This kid, at least from what they're saying now, he never did anything to allude that he was going to go shoot up a school. So again, I don't know if you can find anything out like that. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I just know.
Well, I think every kid's going to have a different answer anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I just hate.
I think he had a T-shirt that said something.
Born to Kill.
Yes.
Born
to Kill.
But that's been around since I was a kid. Remember, that was real popular with Full Metal Jacket came out. Everybody had some type of phrase. Of course, they didn't have shirts printed with it, but they would write it on stuff. I've seen it on many jackets. And that was just because Full Metal Jacket made it popular. I think it was around before then, of course, but that movie when I was a kid.
What did he do? Take a picture and post it? Of the shirt.
Maybe. I think he did post some pictures of his stuff, his trench coat and stuff on Facebook.
A gun and everything.
Yeah, but he wasn't alluding that he was going to kill anybody. I think he was just taking pictures of it. But again, I don't know. Maybe that's something that people could look at. If it's somebody's, I don't fucking know. I do hate how political it gets, though, and it kind of blurs the whole conversation. People just want to get lost in. Even in our own forums, it's turned right directly to gun control immediately.
You can't have an adult discussion when it comes to that. You cannot discuss it. It has to be a fight.
Well, I don't think anybody's necessarily fighting. You can find that for sure. But I'm talking about at least on the forum side. No, I don't think anybody's really arguing or anything. I mean, of course, people get a little bit snarky or whatnot, but I don't think there's been no outright arguing. It just still, to me, you're on the wrong subject, to me. I mean, yeah, obviously, if you were to wipe guns away and make them disappear, well, then, yeah, this wouldn't happen with a gun. I think it would have just happened with something else.
Oh, no doubt. That's proven in Australia. Since they've confiscated all the guns and whatnot. Knife attacks are up.
Well, here in the United States, in at least I think 2016, knife deaths, people were stabbed to death 4 times more than they were shot with AR rifles. 4 times more. I mean, gun deaths still beat knife deaths, but not with the dreaded evil AR. I mean, I think the handgun's still responsible for the majority of weapons used in murders, just a standard handgun. But you don't hear too many people talking about banning handguns. They always keep going after that fucking AR for some reason. I'm still not quite sure why that is. I think it's just ignorance and just false info that gets spread around. I see a lot of people spouting out things, including somebody at my work who was spouting out things he had just heard other people say, and then it was just, I could easily disprove it and just give him the actual, and I own one, so I mean, I could tell him some of the shit they're saying is just completely false, and then eventually he finally just came up and admitted that it doesn't change his stance on gun control, but he agrees that the info that was being spread around that he was seeing was totally just from ignorance. They just didn't know. They were just rehashing some other bullshit they had heard somewhere else.
Well, that's what happens when you go to Facebook for your news.
That's where a lot of people seem to go. But I don't know where you get good news from anymore. I still stick with just getting it from as many different sources as possible. But a lot of the places I get my news from lately has been on fucking YouTube commentators. That's been mostly where I get my stuff. Now, of course, they have their own biases as well, even though some say they're not. But they seem to give you a full picture of stuff. I try to put at least more than one link in some articles when possible, but they kind of do something very similar when they're doing commentary on something where they'll give you a little bit of slice of everything. But if you truly want to get, to me, a better picture on any particular political topic, or any topic for that matter, go to the extreme left and the extreme right. Just go to both, see what they're both saying, and then just start using some common sense. And then just use statistics that are already out there. And you can start really forming a kind of an opinion. But if I ever find a place that just falsely outright lies about things, I will not revisit them again. I don't visit sites like BuzzFeed's one I don't go to, Vice. Anybody that's just anybody that just perpetuates just outright complete bullshit. I don't even want anything from them, and I don't want to give them any traffic.
Agreed.
Hell, I wouldn't even come to us for news. I mean, ours is mostly not really for opinion or anything. It's just, it's kind of just finding some of the more fucked up stories going around already.
Fox News. You ever notice that?
What? I don't watch it. Not enough to where I could actually mimic it like you just did.
There's a guy at local Fox News, and he's always like at a traffic scene or something, and he's like, and this is so and so on.
No.
Yeah. Slim does it, man.
I don't watch news on TV whatsoever anymore. Most everything I get is mostly online, and normally it's probably whatever article I was writing up. Other than that, I get a lot of my shit off of Reddit. The majority of my online time is between Dreamin, YouTube, and Reddit, and that's about basically the only sites I've been going to lately. Way too much time on Reddit. But it gets me through the workday, so.
Yeah, because you work so hard.
I do.
So hard.
I do.
I can tell.
More than anybody else I know. Now, I'm not digging ditches. So I'm not talking physical work. But the time I spend between work and this website is fucking retarded. It truly is nonstop, especially lately. Now, I did take a bit of a break last month, and I'm paying for that now, but whatever. The forums are updated, and they seem to be running fine, and I'm slowly but surely getting the plugins put back in place one at a time. We got the post ratings back, much to Jack Burton's happiness that he can finally shit on people's posts, so I got that back. And
well, that is important.
Yeah, it is. And so now I just got to move on to getting the front page and getting some more stuff done on this YouTube channel. But, hey man, I'll be done in time. But anyway, I think that's about it, man. We're at 11:39, so we've hit an hour and a half, so I think it's about time I'm going to go ahead and cut out of here.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right. I would have brought some people in see if they wanted to talk, but we ran a little bit later than I had wanted to, and I don't want to go all the way into 12 o'clock, not on a Sunday night at least. Maybe you know what we should do? Maybe we'll try to hype up for Saturday and see if we can get some of our members who want to hop on the call and talk about anything they want to talk about. So we'll make that kind of a point of this coming Saturday's podcast, is to bring some people in.
That sounds good.
All right, guys. Well, everybody, have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. If you guys will just hold on 1 second, though, so we can figure out when we want to do this again, and then I'll let you guys go. So anyway, thanks again, and I guess we'll see you in approximately. You know what? Before I do any of this, so I'm not sitting here. There we are. We'll see you within a week at some point. It'll be a Saturday or Sunday. So anyway, have a good night.
Bye, everyone.
Peace out.